Kubor ka Batisi TV. Lawan Rashapi da ka Frank Motors. I am Tata Punch. Price starting at 5.80 lakhs. Ringkat bat ka net foodish. Ordar mapi nginwan ra amangi hakir dobyeng jongpi.
Ka expert committee ka balathong nakabenta banyada bat ban pene pensa ya ka jikho jing soba jong kiwa ka jala megalia ha ka si palei ka khalai tereng urisau arjar phuar kala shong ya jinglang banya theritai kumno banwat ikilat kilinti nakabenta ban Pynkhuid ya ke nyotali kiwa ha ka ni ka jala megalia ba kenthop ya ka wa Umkhrah ka wa Umshyrpi ka wa Kerhokla ka wa nonba ka wa umtro ka wa lukha bat ka wa mentru u chairman joka expert committee uba biki lingwa ubalongru u principal chief of forest lembat u expert member u nabrata batharji ubalongru u chairman jonka state expert appraisal committee megalia hagjiang karen batkilat patai kubor ulai thu baka expert committee kala sha pen khamti hakyeng bisar megalia high court pan Pynkhuid kiwa ret kiwa duat bat yaki Pung ki badan hakaleng ka jala megalia hadin bala ajing tep daki deputy commissioner bat kitna trekam bapher ha kabaiti bar ka jing Pynkhuid ya ka Pung Umïam u nabarta batarji ulai thu baka expert committee kalabo hakmat ya ka thong ban Pynkhuid Shwa ya ka wa Umkhrah bat ya ka wa Umshyrpi nabar ba kini ki artli ki wa kiti ki baket ya ka jabo jaban nakaleng ki shnong kasor shilong bat pengam pat sya ka Pung Umïam.
Its catchment of 220 square kilometers. The 7 rivers which have been kept out of the purview of this committee because of that NGT case are Umkhrah, Umshyrpi, then your Kerhokla, Nangba, Umtrio, Lukha and Mentru. These 7 rivers are being dealt by a separate committee. Then we have 53 wetlands, which again is taken care of by the Wetland Authority, where we have the chairman of our minister is the chairman, Minister Forest, and member secretary, Mr. Sahai, who is the additional PCCF, and Chief Wildlife Warden. So these 53 plus 7, around 60 rivers are kept out of the purview of this committee. Initially this committee was only for Umïam Lake, but after we submitted our first report, maybe the High Court thought it fit that this committee has done a good job, and that's why they included in the mandate of this committee all water bodies of the state minus this. So primarily the objective of this committee is to have convergence. Now we are having too many bodies, too many committees, too many expert bodies looking after all this. So there is an overlap. So we wanted to eliminate this overlap and have this committee. So minus this 60, all other water bodies, that is lakes, ponds, including stretches of rivers which are deemed to be polluted, will be taken up by this committee. Now what has happened after the first meeting of this expert committee, we sent out a format to all the deputy commissioners of all the districts, giving the parameters through which they are to identify these water bodies which are affected, polluted, contaminated, and submit a report. So today we had a meeting to review the information passed on by the districts. Few of the districts, 3 or 4 districts, they were not very clear pertaining to the format circulated, so we have today cleared and clarified and given them 10 days time to come back with the information. Some districts have submitted as per the format. So once we get the information from all the districts, we will collate this information and we will come up with expert prescriptions to the different ills which are affecting the different water bodies. Now you will appreciate that these water bodies, their problems are not uniform or similar. It may differ from even one water body to another. In an earlier report submitted by the districts, before this committee was constituted, we have seen we have about over 10,000 water bodies in our state. Water bodies includes ponds, lakes, and even stretches of rivers. So in that 10,000, majority were shown as fish ponds. So our committee has taken the fish ponds out of the purview of this committee, because fish ponds on their own, they have their intrinsic issues and protective measures, because these are providing livelihood and commercial sources. So we are not considering the fish ponds. So minus these fish ponds, we feel that covering the entire state, maybe about a few hundreds will come up once the total comes. As of now, we do not know except for a few districts. And subsequently, we'll come up with prescriptions how to go about it. The district level committees, our chairman has already asked the deputy commissioners to form the district level committees, and they will undertake study 2 seasons. Our secretary, State Pollution Control Board, is also here, Mr. Nanamalai. He will tell you, and he'll corroborate that to get the baseline data is very, very important before we can recommend any action which is to be undertaken. And to collect the baseline data, you need 2 season study, the dry season and the rainy season. So we have earmarked about 6 months time from now, 6 to 7 months, by which all the data will be coming in here. In the district level, we have recommended the deputy commissioners to open a helpline sort of with WhatsApp in district level, because all of you will appreciate that without the involvement of the stakeholders at the base of the pyramid, at the grassroots level, nothing can go forward. It will remain confined within this room. So our committee feels that the people should be involved and coming out with the issues faced in their respective areas. So we want the people also to be involved. Like we have seen in the case of Umkhrah, the operation cleanup, there is one group, they are taking up these issues with the Ranbashnong settled on the banks of Umkhrah, right from the source till Demsiniong and Umkaliar Bridge Point, and maybe further beyond Maulai. So these type of interventions will be required, and we solicit the cooperation and information from the public also through you. And I think the media also has a very important role, because the asset of our state are these water bodies, and if these gets affected, polluted, then it will be catastrophic, because lot of livelihoods are dependent on this. So the district committee will also comprise, besides the deputy commissioners, they will have members from the line departments, concerned departments like urban, soil conservation, basin, water resources, so that there is a synergy between all and we come up with a holistic action plan for each district. So I think I have more or less covered all the, at least now this committee and the district are at least taking ownership. So we have to go step by step. Earlier, if you remember, district council used to say, as you rightly pointed out, that this is not our job. Water resource will say we are not the owners. Then soil conservation says no, we are only on the banks of the river. So there was lot of ambiguity. But now our main purpose, as I said, that we want to converge so that we work together, and not only government departments, including the public. So it's the ownership of the committee, of the district committee and of the people. Then only it will succeed. Because I have seen, as you all know, I had filed the PIL for Umkhrah and Umshyrpi. But there was no one to implement those recommendations which I had made and which the NGT has upheld. Now it is being done under the the dredging is going on under the smart city project. So these are all in isolation and silos. So our main purpose of this committee is to converge all activities and energies, build a synergy among different stakeholders so that this whole concept succeeds. Otherwise it will not, if one or two departments or one or two public forum take up, it will not do it. It has to be a concerted effort. You see, Umïam Lake per se is not the culprit. The culprit is Umkhrah and Umshyrpi. So unless we take care of these two rivers, because both goes and joins Shwa and it empties into Umïam Lake. So Umïam Lake has become the septic tank of entire Shillong and its catchment of 220 square kilometers. You see, a 10 square kilometer lake is catering to 220 square kilometers of area, which is not seen in any part of our country. So there is so much pressure and anthropogenic factors impinging on this lake. So we are tackling on these aspects, that first this source needs to be taken care of, Umkhrah and Umshyrpi. Urban department is coming up with some infrastructure. Then we had recently, Anand Maligawat was here, myself, our PCCF and HOF, we took a ride and we went to the neck of that point. So there also we have seen that there is some sort of algal bloom is happening, which is not at all good for a river, or it's not an issue, it's a myth. Because unless the siltation crosses 10% of the gross volume available free of the sedimentation, then you do not need siltation. Now in Umïam, as per the WebCost studies, they say about it is 4.7% only. So what we have to do, without being repetitive, that we need to take care. Now number two is the settlement which has come up, Umïam, then Umïam and other localities. There are a lot of farming take place, fertilizers are used, so we are also recommending on those. Then while construction, the debris comes down, this is one. Forest department, again KHADC land, otherwise the forest department was ready to take up plantation even in those islands which have come up. Then we have seen some construction which has taken place absolutely on the lake. Some guest houses of council and others. So we have recommended all these in our, but they feel more should be done. But number one, Umkhrah, Umshyrpi, unless these two are treated, we cannot do anything regarding Umïam Lake.
Which will of course require funding because of various interventions. We are at the process of formulating the action plans, and of course the question of funding later on will come up definitely, and the source of funds will be identified on a need basis, from whatever the situation demands. Every action plan will be site specific to every river, and the action plans can also will cover the whole state, except of course those water bodies, like you said, in the wildlife protected areas, reserve forests, water bodies dealt by the State Wetlands Authority and the River Definition Committee. The district is 26. South Garo Hills district is Bagmara is 12. North Garo Hills, Resubelpara 24 numbers. Southwest Garo Hills district 12 numbers. West Garo Hills 25 numbers. Now other districts have also submitted information, but they've clubbed in together too many fish ponds, and that is giving a distorted figure, so we are not taking that information for now. Other districts are still required us to submit information. We've asked for 10 days, we've given them 10 days to submit the required information as per format. Various other organizations, like for example wetlands is being dealt by the Forest Department, that is excluded, and the river rejuvenation for the 7 rivers. Specific studies for the river basins, I cannot say, but I can only speak for the Forest Department. For us, when we look at information, we look at the state of the forest cover, and specifically as to the drying up of rivers and all that, that is not with an immediate mandate carried out. which are pollution related and related to the flow of water. Now these studies will have to be carried out once during the dry season, which is approaching now, and as soon as the monsoon sets in next year, within the, let's say, if it comes early, then the studies will conclude early because we need data for the dry season and the wet season. Where rivers, talking about rivers in these coal mining areas, the government is already taking action through this bioremediation, which is a project funded by, being implemented by Trinity International. A pilot project was carried out successfully in Umkhrah River, and now we are replicating that on a larger scale on Umkhrah River and Umkhrah River. Now, if there are any other rivers having AMD issues which are not covered by the River Rejuvenation Committee, we will definitely take it up. It's there, of course, but we are dealing more with pollution-related issues. See, the State Pollution Control Board is also mandated, I think, to look into the issue of dumping of waste, I think. And whenever consents are given for, for carrying out construction works and all that, there is a muck disposal. There's an arrangement for muck disposal to ensure that it is not just thrown indiscriminately, and polluting other parts of the, the land or the water bodies. So that comes as part of the, the approvals for constructions. But for domestic, dumping, or you're talking about dumping, that has been addressed also. I think you can see the fencing around the Umkhrah. Yes, but when the communities realize that the state of the river is affecting their livelihoods or their health, they will surely appreciate the efforts that we will make, and we will go on a participatory mode with the local population to address any issues on the water bodies that are there in their respective villages. Because, like I said, the action plan also has one component, that is the participatory component, where we work together with the people. Nothing will fructify if we don't get people's cooperation.